Hello and welcome to Greece for round 7 of the 2014 UF1R World Championship. We go here with 10 points separating Edster from Roy, with Sammy another 2 further behind. Iron has been absent for a while and has slipped to 6th in the championship, but he's back today. Let's see what he can do. And the teams Ferrari and Force India are on the same points. Let's see how that works out. Once again, Sammy on pole with a great time, 47.3, just less than a tenth ahead of Roy. Edster and Iron a little bit further back. Chris 5th, a great showing in front of his home fans. Let's see how the race goes for him. Mogius 6th. Watman down in 7th, Stephen in 8th. Skoda in 9th, so his teammate has got back on top of him. Justin is 10th. Then it's the Pool C drivers. Lorino 11th, Grant 12th. Diablo 13th for Ferrari, Karst 14th. And then at the back it's the guy you probably won't see much of this race, Doof. So we await now to see when the start lights are going to appear. There they are. So when they all go out, the races go. Sammy on the left, Roy on the right. Who's going to make the best start? It looks pretty even, but Sammy looks like he's maintained the lead. Everyone behind jostling for position. Great launch by Watman as we see Iron, Chris challenging Ed for the 3rd place. Oh, and Chris has got through. Chris into 3rd place and Roy takes the lead. And Edster launching back down the inside of Iron and trying to challenge Nitrous for 3rd place. Really can't afford to be held up by the Greek driver in these opening stages. And Justin retakes Stephen. Oh, Sammy gets a bit of air there. That was a bit hairy as Roy goes quite wide and Nitrous as well. Sammy's going to take the lead. And Edster back in 3rd place. Meanwhile, Lorino and Diablo having a battle here. And now Iron's going to demote Chris to 5th. So it looks like he's starting to regress to a mean. Meanwhile, Grant and Nightfire having a good battle here. Into the last corner, looks like Justin's Force India got the better run out. So Justin up to 7th place. Meanwhile, Roy defending 2nd place from Edster. It looks like Grant loses another place, this time to Skoda. Ooh, and Diablo hits the first corner. Lorino and Stephen pass him. That first corner is very deceptive. Oh, as Edster goes underneath Roy. And that's an interesting line from Ed. Let's see if he can make anything of this. He's a bit tighter through the chicane. Oh, and he's through up into 2nd place. Meanwhile, Chris has lost another place, this time to Mogius. Although he starts to fight back and gets back into 5th. Meanwhile, Sammy, oh, a bit of a curb back there. That's going to let Edster through. And you saw Mogius in the foreground there. Just retook Nitrous. As Skoda here getting past Nightfire. And Roy having a go at Sammy into the last few corners of the lap. Oh, not quite though. Let's see if he gets a good run. And here's Watman overtaking Grant. I thought he was ahead of Grant, so he must have made a mistake. And now he's recovering from that. Oh, it's Roy very close to Sammy and now trying to attack. That was brave stuff from Roy. Just needs to seal the deal as Sammy trying to attack again. Oh, and Roy just hits the exit there. And so does Skoda. And Watman passes him, so Skoda down to 9th. And Watman also passes Nitrous, so... Well, both Justin and Watman run wide and hit the wall, so Nitrous is going to lead this pack again along with Skoda. Oh, and Grant just getting in front of Watman as well. And Mogi is really starting to challenge Iron and goes through in fact, so Iron clearly not as strong as he was before he ran away. Oh, and a big scrap here for 6th place. Skoda slides it and loses 7th to Watman and Justin. It looks like Grant had a bit of a moment there as Mogius takes Iron again. So he must have had a better run down the straight. Oh, Watman just taking Justin as well. In the battle for the lead, Sammy has caught up to Edster and is putting some real pressure onto him now. It looks like Ed is holding pretty firm onto his line. Or is he? Because it looks like he had a bit of a curb-induced slide there. He just broke on the paint. And now Sammy is just an inch ahead. But he's not going to sacrifice the lead that easily. Remember, Ed has got a 12-point lead over Sammy in the standings at the moment as he just ekes out a little bit of a gap. And Ed does not want to see him cut into... Oh, as he hits the wall! And the front lifts up for Sammy on the exit there. But it looks like he's fine because Ed had a double wall hit there. Very unlucky. Very poor judgment. And now Roy has passed him. And Ed already looking to cut underneath Roy. But Roy's able to carry a bit more speed. All the while he will be losing time to Sammy. So he needs to find a way past the Williams ASAP. And looks like he has. While we're watching the leaders, it looks like Chris has dropped back a bit. Not exactly sure what happened, but he's under attack from Skoda, and Skoda's going through him, so whatever happened there cost Chris. As Karst tries to make a move for 12th place, but Diablo and Lorino both immediately cut back under him. Looks like Skoda and Nitrous have caught up to Steven. Nitrous trying to make a move on Skoda, but now looks like both of them have got a good run on Steven. And they're both going to breeze past him, which is very bad news for the Ferrari driver. Ooh, that's a very brave move for the first corner. And it looks like he retook both of them. But as we saw, Roy needs to make the move stick, and he hasn't done that. He's made a mistake. So Steven down to 11th. Amazing Grant and Nightfire having a bit of a battle. Oh, it looks like Edster made a mistake because Roy breezed past him there. Now he switched to the three Pool C drivers. Karst making a move on Diablo, really slugging out for these lower places. Karst tries to attack into the chicane, but Diablo ducks underneath him. Oh, and he gets the braking very wrong, Diablo, and Karst is now right with him. And we're hearing that Edster's trying to challenge Roy again. There you go. Gets a solid run out of the first corner. And it looks like Roy might just have the edge. But it's pulling alongside. This looks promising. But is Roy carrying a bit more speed? Yes, he is. And he cuts back through again. Great little duel developing there. And then here's another one. As Mogius is trying to get past Watman. We didn't see Watman overtake Mogius, sorry, but looks like Mogius is trying to get back through. Oh, and he may do so, because Watman goes very wide, and through he goes, up into 5th place. Goes Mogius. Oh, while his teammate makes a mistake, and Steven goes through past Skoda. Well, Skoda quite carrying a lot of speed on exit here, and Steven under threat from him immediately. Can he respond going to the last corner? Oh no, he goes, he hits the wall. And Steven really struggling. He's no longer best of the rest. And meanwhile, the fight for second place continues. Again, Edster tries to cut underneath, and Roy defends. And going into the chicane, looks like Edster finally gets a good run. And he just needs to keep his foot down, and he will be ahead of Roy now. Finally, back into second place goes Edster. And up into 4th place goes Mogius. Ooh, looks like Edster goes braking done quite late there, and Roy's breezed past him. Sammy is several seconds up the road now. I'm not sure either of them are going to be able to catch him. Oh, as Edster responds through the chicane and repasses Roy. Back to the Pool C battle. Looks like Diablo did stay ahead of Karst, and now Karst is trying to retake Lorino. And Karst are not quite able to pull it off through the first corner. Let's see how he goes into turn 3. He dives underneath. Makes it stick, and it looks like Diablo's made a mistake too. Look how quickly things can change here. These three have been right together for virtually the whole race, and looks like they're even closer now because Diablo gets back past Karst. Remember that Ferrari already need these points against Force India, but looks like Karst is trying to retake him now. Oh, but this time Karst runs wide. Now he's under the mercy of Lorino, who predictably gives none. Oh, now Diablo getting out of shape. Just as he was about to break away from them, it looked like, and now Lorino is going to go right around the outside of him. And it looks like Chris has managed to get ahead of that packet, but now he's made a mistake. Justin passes him, Steven passes him, and now Skoda as well is probably going to pass him. So that hard work is going to be undone. And the local hero is up against it. Meanwhile, Skoda is quite close to Steven. Oh, and he passes him, so a little mistake there from Steven. Meanwhile, Diablo, very good speed out of the chicane, and retakes Lorino. But the Lotus driver isn't going to have any of that. Tries to dive through, but Diablo on the better line there. And now Nitrous looks like he's trying to fight back. He has a decent run on Steven. Let's see what he can make of it. He's ahead now, but oh, it breaks a little too early for that last corner, and Steven piles back through. Coming to the same section. It looks like Nitrous is going to have another go. And the crowd are on the edge of their seat as Chris passes the Ferrari. Well, it looks like Skoda is starting to struggle, so Chris is going to make another place. So Chris making good progress to recover that lost ground. Oh, and it looks like someone's coming in for a pit stop. It's Doof Doof. And he goes into pit bay too. So very much time now to see what transpires in the strategy game. Iron is coming in, followed by Lorino and Karst, who are fighting for position, and then Nightfire. And Lorino is starting to slow a lot. And Karst overtakes him in the pits. That's rare. You don't see that very often at all. Steven botching an attempt to get past Skoda. So Nitrous, Skoda and Steven coming in now. And Skoda and Steven going for pit bay 1 as Iron leaves, but Nitrous going for pit bay 3. Oh, and there's the race leader. He's going for pit bay 3 as well. And so behind Sammy there's Edster, who's also opting for the same strategy, and Roy should be there too. And Grant goes into pit bay 2. So it's all kicking off then. Skoda leaving just ahead of Steven. Oh, and Steven hits the wall. Mogius coming in just ahead of Watman, so Mogius going for pit bay 1. Will Watman do the same? No, he's carrying on. And he's starting to slow a bit. I think he must have got a pit penalty for speeding in the pits. Oh, and that's really bad. Like, that's an extra 30 seconds then. And that could well destroy his race because the pack is very tightly bunched together at the moment. A lot of drivers are going to pass. Oh, Sammy hits the wall on exit. And there's Mogius, who amongst all that has managed to jump into second place ahead of Edster because of his fuel strategy. Oh, and Iron's Caterham has stopped. That looks like he's been disconnected and out of the race. And that's very bad luck. It means that Ferrari and Force India will have a clear run in the constructors. There's Diablo exiting the pits. Where are Karst and Lorino far behind, it looks like. So pitting later was the right strategy for Diablo. As Karst goes wide and into the wall, Lorino passes him for 13th place. Well, now 12th because Iron's out. Oh, Roy gets the last corner all wrong. That's a dead stop. That's going to hurt him. As we see Watman exiting the pits a lap behind Mogius, so he has a lot of work to do. Not physically, I hope it didn't hurt him, but now Edster trying to challenge Mogius immediately. Going to the last corners, Mogius tries to fight back and dive through a bit, but Edster cuts under him. Edster back into de facto second place, and now free to chase Sammy. And first on Watman's hit list, it's Grant, who is catching very quickly and just about to pass. I think he cuts underneath him. Oh, almost hits the wall there. You can see here just how much time Roy lost to the leaders. What's that noise? Oh my good lord. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure what we just witnessed there, but it's definitely helped Watman, who passes Chris after it looks like he was slowed by extraterrestrial activity. Oh, and Lorino brakes on the straight for some reason, which lets Karst back through. We're all a bit in shock there, but the leaders are starting to battle now as Edster's caught up to Sammy and now he's passing him. He got a great run at that last corner. So all of a sudden Sammy's gone from having a comfy lead to having a massive fight on his hands if he wants to try and win this race. Edster again going very wide into that long corner. Oh, and he hits the inside. Sammy goes back through. Here's Diablo in 11th place. Oh, and he gets the first corner wrong. Where's Karst? He's surely going to power through. There he goes. And here's Sammy probably breathing a bit of a sigh of relief that Edster hit that inside corner. But Edster clearly not giving up. That McLaren looks very racy right now. See if we can get a good run through the first corner. Oh, yes, that's clever driving. Getting on the power a bit later. Oh, trying to sweep around the outside and didn't quite work out. Oh, Sammy hit the outside this time. So it is now back in the lead. We see Diablo and Lorino lapping Doof Doof. Oh, mistake from Diablo, so Lorino has overtaken him. You can see from this rear facing shot that Doof Doof's rear wing has fallen off somewhere. I don't know, maybe the aliens took it. We see Lorino being very wide there and Diablo completely taking advantage. Now, can the Lotus driver fight back a bit here? I think he's going to try to sweep around the outside once again, yeah. So Lorino up into 12th place. Meanwhile, Edster defending the lead. Oh, and some team radio to him.
Good boy. Keep doing that. Keep it behind for as long as possible.
He's kept him on line for a few laps so far, but I'm not sure how much longer he can hold on because Sammy got a great run there onto that long back straight. So Sammy has inched ahead, but what can Edster do going to the last few corners? Going very aggressive here. Hard to say who got the best run out of that, but I think Edster's starting to pull alongside Sammy. Yeah, he's ahead, but it's very marginal as they sweep into turn one. And Sammy knows that Edster's going to take the wide line. Look, there he goes. Who's going to get the best exit? It looks like it's Sammy, risking everything to get back into the lead. And I think Rob Smedley will not like that one little bit. Here, Edster trying to react now. Pulls alongside Sammy and attempts to outbrake him. Great move, but you don't think he's pulled it off yet because Sammy's fighting back. Moving into the back straight, and Edster is just about less than an inch ahead. They're neck and neck in this heart-stopping battle for the lead. Edster dives through going into the last corner, but Sammy's going to get the best run. He's been clever there. Oh no, it's happened again. Some truly surreal stuff is happening to Nitrous's car, and they deposited him upside down. What are the chances of that? Oh, Watman passes Steven. And Edster tries to launch past Sammy at the final corner again, but he has it covered this time. Oh, and out the corner of my eye, I can hear all the angry screams of the Greek citizens and people leaving the grandstands in their masses as Justin enters the pits, as the Skoda, who was just behind him. I mean, it's no wonder that Greece is going to tighten up its policy on illegal aliens, and Watman's going to pass both of them. So Watman, you have to say, making a fantastic recovery considering he lost 30 seconds to these guys. In his first few races, he's really shown them up. As Mogius and Steven pit, as does Karst. Definitely looks like the one-stoppers knew what they were doing, which is even more frustration for Chris. As Lorino pits. Lorino's followed Karst into pit bay 2, while Diablo's going into pit bay 1. Not sure Diablo is close enough to take any advantage of that, but... And now Doof Doof makes his final stop, again in pit bay 2. Seems to me that Lorino's indecisiveness may have cost him in the pits here as Grant takes his last stop. And here comes Sammy about to cross the line to win the Greek Grand Prix, withstanding massive pressure from Edster, who finishes 2.3 seconds behind in second place. Roy will finish quite a way back in third, after he made too many mistakes. For the third race in a row, Mogius takes fourth, followed by the impressive Watman. Justin takes sixth for Force India, gaining valuable points in the constructors. Skoda takes 7th, slightly disappointing but not too bad. Stephen 8th, he doesn't look too happy about that. Grant will be 9th, taking some much needed points for Mercedes. Karst is going to be 10th, triumphing in the tough Pool C battle. Lorino will be 11th, Diablo will be 12th, and Doof will be 13th and last. Okay, I think the aliens are gone, so it'll be safe to have the podium now. But you have to say, Sammy made great amends for a slightly disappointing previous round at Mossport Park. Edster, his lead will be cut, but at least he was able to limit the damage. Roy definitely lost ground and lost momentum in the title race after a very under par weekend. Watman, if he can iron out all those mistakes in the pits, he is in line for a pretty big result, you have to say. Further down in 10th, you have to say Karst is probably extremely relieved to finish a race in the first time for what feels like yonks. And then at the back we have our two very strange retirements. So this race left us with a lot of questions, more questions than answers I would say. I mean, after that possible extraterrestrial sighting, we really have to question, is there a god? Who are we? And who's leading the championship? Well, it looks like Edster is still in the lead, but only by 7 points from Sammy. Meanwhile, Roy is 7 behind him, but 89 points ahead of Mogius, who's in a fairly strong 4th. Justin is 5th, then there's a gap to Skoda and Iron, both on 75. I guarantee that now if Iron's back, he'll probably do much better than he did in that race. Stephen had a bit of a meh race and is 5 points behind in 8th. Watman, 51 points in the space of 3 races. Then it's Diablo and Grant, Nitrous, Lorino, Cyrus falling down a bit, Doof 15th, Karst 16th, and then the rest. Moving on to the constructors, Marussia have obviously increased their lead with that win, and are starting to look pretty much invincible. McLaren and Williams, remember, still only 1 car teams pretty much, all of McLaren's points coming from Edster. But he's only 8 ahead of Williams and Roy Boy. Force India, as I alluded to earlier, have leapfrogged up to 4th place, but they are still only a couple of points ahead of Ferrari. Then just 7 behind, it's Caterham, who are 8 ahead of Mercedes, and then right at the back, it's Lotus on 70 points. Well, that just about wraps up for this race. I can tell you that for the next round, Indy up, Edster has had to pull out for various reasons that we won't go into now. Hopefully not to do with aliens. We'll be taking a bit of a hiatus over half term. Hopefully we'll be back in a few weeks. See you around.